So in the last session, we talked about session management, right? So, we'll revise that once and we'll jump onto the topics that we are going to cover today. So in general, when you make a request from your browser for a particular page, let's take a login.as page. So whenever you make a request, the server does not know who you are. Okay. So it will process the request and it will send the response back to the server client. So when you make another request from the same client, it doesn't know you. So it will again treat you as a first request only. So it will again process and it will attach some session ID kind of thing. And then response will be sent back to the client. So this will continue until you implement sessions or state management, because so when you make a request from client to server will treat every time it as a fresh request, because HTTP requests are stateless. So those are stateless. Server does not know you who you are. Okay. So to make that to make server to know who you are, so we use state management techniques. So whenever we make a request from client to server will not identify you. To identify either the user or the session, so we go for state management. Okay, state management techniques. We have different state management techniques. It's a kind of passing data from client to server and server to client, so that you will be known to the server. Like you logged in, you entered your name and password and you clicked on login button. So at the server side, we will create a session ID. That session will be carried from server to client, client to server in the future request. So that client server knows you that you are a particular user like Pawan. Pawan is logged in already. So he's trying to access his email box, email messages. Okay. You want to access his settings. You want to go for payment page like that. You want to access his order details. You want to access his cart details. Okay, different scenarios, right? So to identify a user, particular user, so we go for state management techniques. Okay. So how the sessions will work? One of the state management technique is a session. Or with all these state management techniques, we can take a session. Session. What is a session? What do you think a session is? Any idea? Anyone? No idea. Session is a span of some time. It can be a 15 minutes or it can be a 10 minutes. Okay, it can be 30 minutes or it can be 1 hour, like that. A span of some time. During the time, you will be identified by the server with an ID, unique ID. So that is called session ID. So session is a span of some time that was defined by ourselves or by server program. So each session will be identified by a ID, session ID. Okay. So when you make a request, just a second. Yeah. So when we make a request to the server will treat it as a first request. So it will internally create a session ID and that session ID will be sent to the client. So when client makes another request, if you don't pass that session ID, so again server will treat it as a fresh request. Again, it will create a session ID and that will be passed to the client. Okay. So this will happen without a session implementation or state management implementation. If you take a session state management implementation, like when you make a request to the server will create an ID with your user ID. it will create a session A, user ID equal to Radha. That session will be sent to the in a response to the client. So client will hold that value like session ID A. So this is my session ID. Okay. So in the next request, along with the request, that session ID will be sent by the server, by the client. So that server will identify you. So you are a session A user. So your user ID is this. Like that, it will get the details at the server side because the details will be stored at the server. Okay. Then next, whatever we requested, that will be processed and sent as a response. Again, the session ID will be carried. Okay. Session ID will be at the client side and session ID will be at the server side, both the sides. So if you take this scenario, like the user is same, the client is same web application, different request 1 and request 2, but the same session. Okay. Suppose let's take another user. Session ID is B. So he made a request and the response will be delivered with along with the session. So whenever you make a request from different users, it will be identified by the session ID. Okay, here if you see, so here clients are different, like session ID B, session ID A, two different kinds of clients, same application, different session. So the session will be different for each user. Okay, session will be particular to a particular user. Right. So to maintain sessions or state, we have two types of techniques, like client-side management technique, server-side management techniques. If we take client-side management, state management techniques, the values will be stored in the client machine or will be passed from the client side. Okay, the information will be stored in the client machine or the information can be processed, can be sent from the client machine to the server. When it comes to server-side management, the information will be stored in the server and the IDs will be passed to user or client. Okay. So there are different types of techniques like session, application, caching, client side, view state, query string, hidden field, cookies, control state. Okay. So when it comes to view state, it is a inbuilt state management technique by ASP.NET Framework. So it is used to remember all the controls that we use in the page. Okay, when it is posted back to the server, so the control values will be read from view state. It's an inbuilt technique, whether we implement or not, the framework will automatically take care and it will create a hidden field object like __ view state in an encrypted format at the client machine or browser. We can see that in the browser. Okay. So if we want to add some information to the view state, like we can add view state.add name Radha key value like that. Okay, to retrieve that view state of that key name. Okay, so we saw example for this already. Okay, sorry. Okay, so view state advantages and disadvantages. So what is the advantage? It is used to store the small amount of data. So it is used to store this small amount of data in the form of encrypted format at client side. Okay. Disadvantages, it will be sent back and forth in each page request. So there may be a performance issue if large amount of data is stored. Okay. And the state is only written when the post request is made to the page. So why? So when we are posting back to the server only, we read the control state information. So view state will be used to read the control state when we are posting back to the server. So when we are clicking on submit button, so the server will read the values of our controls like text box, drop down, check box, radio button. Okay, those values will be read during the post request. Okay, that is about view state. So hidden fields, we can create it as a control in HTML like input type equal to hidden. This will not be visible to the user on the web page. So you can pass information, any secret information from one page to other page. like one client page to server page. But if you go to browser and right click and view information, you can see that information. Okay. It. If you want to create an HTML hidden field in ASP.NET, we can create HTML input hidden by using that class. So we can create an object and we can set the value. To read the value, we can use dot value. It is something like text box, same like a text box. Its type is hidden, no change. Okay. Advantage, disadvantage. Useful when additional information is required for client-side validations. So like to pass some flags, okay, in that case, and which is not visible to the user, then we can go to hidden fields. Disadvantages, all the information is stored at the client side and anyone can view it using the source of the web page. By right clicking it, we can view that information even though it is a secret value. It's a plain text, we can easily view that. Okay, so those we don't use much, like we don't use view state and hidden fields much. So the most widely used, like our focus is from query strings, cookies, and then application session. Okay, now what is a query string? So it allows us to send the information from client to server. So the values will be in the form of key value pair. If you have multiple values can be separated using ampersand symbol. So whenever we send some value using query string, it will be in the form of like this. So the values will be appended at the end of the URL like this. So after the end of the URL, we have to give a question mark, then our key name and its value. If you have another value, you can give ampersand, then you can give key name and equal symbol, then its value. Okay, this way we can send multiple values. It will be in the form of key and value pair. Okay, so this way we can send information from one page to other page using query strings. So query strings allows us to pass the data from one page to other page or from client to server. Okay, one page to other page or from client to server, and servers from the so that server will process and provide the required data. So query strings will be appended at the end of the URL and it is visible to all. So it is visible in the address bar of the page. Okay, address bar of the page. Like to append an query string, we use question mark at the end of the URL and we pass the data in the form of key value pair, like key equal to value. If you have multiple values can be separated using ampersand. Okay. So complete string information will be displayed in the browser address bar window. And when it comes to query string, we can only transfer 2083 characters along with URL address. So when we pass data using query string, we can pass only 2083 characters, including the address of our URL, our website. Okay, to pass this data from HTML, like we can use like this. So when we are clicking on hyperlink, if you want to go to a different page along with some information, you can give like this: web page web form 1.aspx question mark view name equal to user1. Okay, so in ASPX page, so we can use response.redirect. Okay, response.redirect. So I'm going to redirect to web form 1.aspx along with this value, this username. So to access this, so we use like this: request.query string of username. Request.query string of username. See here, if you observe here, so here from client page we are using response, in server page we are using request. Okay, so while sending the request from one page, so it will be an ongoing response to the server. So you have a web page. So when you are clicking on some button, it will be an ongoing response to the server. So we are sending back response back to the server. So that's why we use response.redirect. So we got a request from the user to a particular page. So at the server side, it will become a request. At the server side, it will become a request. Request.query string. So once information is processed and sent back to the server, it will be a response. So it's client side, it will be a response.redirect. Page response. From that, we will read the information. At server side, it will be a request. So request.query string. Okay. Like that, we will read the information. Okay. So advantages, disadvantages, used when small amount of data needs to be passed between pages. And it's a simple implementation, like in the address bar, we can pass the data. Disadvantages, not secure because everything is exposed in the address bar of the URL. And it also, it can only transfer maximum of 2083 characters, including the URL address. Okay. Next thing, cookies. So cookies. So why we go for cookies, or what is cookies? We'll see that a small named data element passed to the client from the server as part of HTTP response. So to maintain the session or to store the user details, a name will be passed from server to the client in the form of a cookie, small part of information. Okay, so that will be in the HTTP response. Can use cookies to exchange name value string pairs between client and the server. Okay, we use cookies to exchange some information between the client and server. So there are two types of cookies, like persistent cookies, non-persistent cookies. Okay, these are reliable than server-side state management option. Why we will see that? Because these will be stored in the user machine. Our machine itself, these will be stored. Okay, so user may delete cookies or they may disable cookies. So in such case, we cannot use our website properly. If you pass some cookie information and if our browser don't allow that, then it will be a problem. Okay. So cookies are small amount of information that can be passed from client server to client. Okay. These can be used to exchange some name key value pair kind of values between client and server interactions. Okay. And also cookies are domain based, website based. Cookies are website based. Each website can send some cookies. So these are specific to a particular website. And when we use a cookie, it will store the data in the form of plain text format. Okay. So if we open a cookie and see, we can know which website which website created it. So because it's in a plain format and it will be stored in the user machine. Okay. And when it comes to data size, it can transfer of around 4096, or we can say it is a 4 KB. When it comes to query string, it is 2 KB. And when it comes to cookies, it can be 4 KB, maximum of 4 KB. Okay. So like each website can send cookies. So overall, a website can send only 20 cookies. Okay. A website can send 20 cookies. And overall in a machine, I guess it is around 200 or 400. So in total, we can send only, we can set only 200 cookies. When it comes to a particular website, it can be 20 per website, 20 cookies per website, and total of 200. When it reaches the 200, the old cookies will get vanished. Okay. Maximum of 200 only. The oldest cookie will be destroyed when the size reaches, right? There are two types of cookies, like persistent cookies and non-persistent cookies. So let's still see the difference. So non-persistent cookies are temporary cookies, or we can call it as an in-memory cookie. These cookies do not, let's take non-persistent cookies or in-memory cookies. These will not have any expiry date and time. Okay. So these will not have any expiry date and time. As long as we work with the browser or the session or the website, those will be available. The data will be available in the cookie or browser memory. Okay. When we work with a website, until we are active on that website, the data will be stored, or the data will be carried from client to server. When we close that application, when we close that website, okay, when we close that browser, all the cookies information will be vanished. Okay. So this way we can achieve a user session with a website using a cookie. So using in-memory cookies, this will not have an expiry time and date. So as long as we work with a website, the data will be available. When we close the browser or website, so the data will get vanished. Okay. These are in-memory cookies or temporary cookies or non-persistent cookies. Persistent cookies, just quite opposite to this. We can set expiry time and date to these cookies. Okay. So whatever, and these cookies will be stored in our hard disk. Even though we close our browser or window or website, the cookies will be available. The cookies information will be available. And when we take a default expiry time, it is around a large value, like 50 years, I guess. Until if you have less than 200 cookies in your machine, that will be stored as long as your hard disk is available, like it's 50 years. Okay. But we can also delete the cookies. We will see the creation. Can someone go on mute? Who is that? Okay. So we talked about query string and cookie. So there are two types of cookies, persistent cookie and non-persistent cookie, right? So to create a cookie, HTTP cookie is the class. We create an object and we give a cookie name like this here. So we are giving a name.
In one cookie, how many words we can insert, sir? Like they shown like in characters, no? Like we can say it words also.
It's a string value. It's a string value. So it's a key value pair. Whatever the information you can store, that can be valid. Like the size is 4 KB. Cookie size is 4 KB.
Okay.
So we generally use like a key value pair kind of thing. So key and its value, not more than that information. We don't send much information. Yes. We don't even get such situations like passing large kind of data to the cookie.
Yes.
Okay. So this way we will mention the cookie name, and will to the values.add we can add a key value pair. So in each cookie we can add multiple values. See here, that is the difference here. Time now dot toString, back color blue, like this. So we can set the expiry time. Okay. To create a persistent cookie, specify the expiration time. So if we set 1 hour, it will be available for 1 hour, even though we close the browser. So to add it to the response.cookies.add. Okay. So this is about cookies. So to read it, so HTTP cookie, my cookie, request.cookies. So from request, we can read the cookies as well. We can give the name. So to access it, my cookie dot values of time, my cookie dot values of back color. Okay. So next we'll jump to state server side. So before that, let's see an example with these things. So let me take 2 pages, source and destination. Okay. Let me take 2 pages. Let me pass information from one page to other page, one request to other request using these source. Okay. Let me treat it. Let me treat the second page as destination. Okay. Now I will use query string. Okay. Now I will use query string and cookies to pass the information from one page to other page. So in the source page, I'll place a button. Okay. So when I click that button, I want to pass some information. Okay. So let me name it as pass information. Okay. Or some submit button. Right. Or redirect to destination target page. Okay. So when clicking this button, I want to pass information to the destination page. So I'm in source page. Now I want to pass information to destination page. Okay, response dot redirect. So what is the URL? Destination .aspx. So now I want to pass some information using query string. So to pass information, we define question mark. So key name, username equal to Mahipal. Sorry, it's a string, so no need to give colons. And if I want to pass extra information, A equal to 10 and B equal to 20. So like this, we can pass multiple values to the multiple values using a query string. Just a second, let me increase font size. Right. See here. So this is the URL of my page. To pass the query string, I'm just using question mark, then key and its value. If I have multiple variables to pass, so I can use ampersand, A equal to 10 and B equal to 20. This way we can pass this information from source page to the destination page. Okay. Let's go to destination page and get that information. Okay. So where is that? So in the page load, I want to read that information. Okay. So like I'll take a labels here to display that information. So welcome. I'll place a label. So I'll give a ID to this to access it, to set the text. So label name. Okay, this is my ID of the label to identify it uniquely. So let me remove the text as well. So that currently it is empty text. So I want to display the result of the values I passed. So result, I'll take another variable, another label. Let me remove this text and give ID to my label, LBL result. Okay. This way I can pass information. So this way I can display the information here. So to do that, so LBL name dot text equal to, so I'll have information in the request. So request dot query string. So what is my key name? So what is my key name? So if you see here, username is my key name. Okay, I can take that into LBL text. Let me take two integers. First int A equal to request dot query string of, so what is my another key name? A. Okay. So I took as integer, but it is string. Okay. So that's why I have to convert it. Convert dot to int 32. Okay. In the same manner, let me copy this and paste here. Let me take it into B. So here it will be B. Now I want to display the result on a label. Just an example how we pass the data. So A plus B. Okay. So see here it's a text and we cannot set to int, cannot implicitly convert type into to string. So to do that, we can use converter to string or directly to string. Okay. Now let's run and check. Oh, sorry. So first I have to pass data from ASPX, right? Let me load that page. So I have only one button. When clicking this, I want to change, go to destination page. Now I am in source page. I want to go to destination page. See here, destination username Mahipal, A equal to 10, B equal to 20. This will be visible in the address bar if we use query string. So welcome Mahipal, result is 30. So this way we can pass information from one page to other page using a query string. So to give query string, so at the end of the URL, we will give question mark, then key name and its value. If we have multiple values to pass, we can use and symbol. Okay. So this is a way of passing the information from one page to other page. So I passed this information from source page to destination page. So here I'm using request.query string to read that value. So to pass that, just question mark, ampersand and symbol. Okay, this is with respect to query string. So let's perform a DB operation in the same manner. Just a second. So I'll take some variable here, some text box here. So student ID I'll take. I'll pass that from this page to another page. In the next page, I'll display the grid. Okay. Enter student ID. So here user will enter the student ID. So when clicks on this button, redirect to target, let it be there. Okay. So along with that, in the source page, so let me change my text box ID. TXT student ID. Okay. So along with these values, I'll pass that as well. Okay. So here I have to pass ID, student ID, right? So student ID equal to, so I have that value in text box. So txt student ID dot text. So now I'm passing value from this page click event. So when we enter student name, student ID and click on this button, along with this information, I am passing student ID also. That I'll read at destination page. Okay. Like integer string, right? So let's take it as integer student ID. Sorry. student ID equal to request dot query string of. So what is the key name? Student ID. Right. Let me convert it to integer. Now I want to display the student details in a grid or some label. So for that, I guess I have code right in a different page. Where do I have that? Update student, right? Yeah, that one only. Yeah, here only. So here I'm selecting based on a drop down, right? So now I'm getting on change. We are we are taking that value and binding these details, right? Let's try that with this navigation. Let me navigate to update page. Just a second. I'll navigate to update student page directly. I'll read this value there itself because I have code ready already there. I think we have a lot of changes here. Let's check. So I'll read that student value. I'm just checking for a method in this one. So let me remove all this information. So I'm getting student ID here. So I'll pass that. Okay. So this will execute the query at the DB side and will fetch and will fill that text fields. Okay. So we'll see whether it will work or not because we have a lot of changes in this page. We'll see if any errors. Now, when we click on this button, we want to go to update student page. Update student page. Update student.aspx. Let's try now. So I'm in source page. So we have page now. So let me enter 12. Click on redirect to target. Our target is update student here. So, okay. So there are different other controls. The connection name was not found. I have to delete them. So better I'll go to source and I'll remove all other text, which is not required here actually. Let me remove this. Do I have the extra information? All right, yeah. So let me go back. So I'm clicking on redirect to target. See here, username Mahipal A equal to 10, B equal to 20, student ID equal to 12. Whatever the value I entered, that I got here. So using ID, I fetched the details and bound it to labels or text boxes in the form, existing form. Okay. So simple thing, just we'll use response.redirect to pass the information and question mark at the end of the URL, key and value. So this way we can pass any static information or dynamic information. Okay. So this is hard coded value. This is a dynamically passing value, right? So this is about query string. Now let's see cookies. Okay. So to create a cookie, we'll use HTTP cookie. So we have to create an object to access it, new HTTP cookie. So we have to give a name to the cookie. See here, string name, string value. Directly we can pass here itself, or we can use add method. Okay. So let's try username, same concept with cookies. HTTP cookie, new HTTP cookie, bracket lo username, cookie name ఇవ్వాలి, right? So cookie dot value, we can directly specify like this, equal to, so I want to give Mahipal. Okay, let me create another cookie, cookie one equal to new cookie. So let's take A. This time I'll pass the value directly here, 100. Okay. Let me copy this, place here, change the cookie name to be equal to 200. Okay. Now we have to add these cookies to response. Okay. Response dot cookies dot add. Okay. First is cookie. Next, in the same manner, the next one is cookie one. So cookie one. Then next one is cookie two. So this way we have created cookie objects and added that to cookie object, cookies collection. So this will be a collection. So HTTP cookies collection. So we are adding it using add method. Okay. So this is, I'm sending some cookies from page, source page. Source page is source.aspx. Right. When clicking this button, I'll navigate to destination page. Okay. Destination page. Simply I'll navigate to destination page. I don't use any query strings here. So when clicking on button, I'm just navigating. Okay. So on the client, on the destination page, if I have to access them, and now I'm just commenting this. So to access them, so I have to use like lbl name.text equal to, so we will have information in the request. So request dot cookies of username. So what is my cookie name? User name. Okay. To get its value, okay, lbl result. To get that, I need these two lines. So let me take request dot cookies of a dot value this way we can access and display the result. So let's run and check. I'll be in the this control set. So I'm just rerunning the page. So there are errors. Let me check. What is that? Oh, yes. This TV student does not exist. Use that. Because I deleted grid view, right? So it is checking, but why it did not come that time? Okay. Just a second. I'll reopen. IntelliSense is not working. So let me reopen. So here actually the value will be in the form of string. So that is what the error it is displaying. Now it should work. So from source page, I'm sending cookies, 3 cookies. First one is username, then second one A equal to 100, and then B equal to some value, right? So when I'm clicking on that button, so I'm redirecting to destination page. See the code here. So in page load, I set these cookies, okay, added them to collection, cookies collection, and when redirecting, those cookies will be transferred. We'll see whether we will be able to access them or not in the destination page. We'll see whether we will be able to access them or not. See here, Mahipal and 300. So I created a cookie. I just added them to response. So when we are redirecting from the source page to destination page, these cookies will be sent to the server, to this address as well, to the server. So those can be accessed in the destination page. So whatever the page we are in, we can access with the help of request.cookies username. So this way cookies will be transferred from that page to this page. Let's see where this gets stored. I think they will be stored in, I never checked, but let me check. See users name cookie. Somewhere in this folder only we can see them. Documents. So let me Google that path. I did not remember it. Cookies. See users username app data local. Okay. See users name data. Local Google Go user data. Do you have any cookie? User data default. This was set by a different user, I guess, a different application. So on hold, somewhere we have to see them here. I'll check and I'll let you know. Somewhere we should see them here. You can see them actually. But unfortunately, the information found inside cookies file is in not a human readable format. You can use browser interface to see and interact with the cookies. So to do that, I guess. In browser also we can see that actually. Cookie/cookie. You can see in file. So somewhere here we can see that. Yeah, this one. So we can enable disable cookies here. Allow cookies, black third party is incognito, like this. See all cookies and site data. This is where we can see the cookies information. Okay. So these are the different cookies that are available in the browser or in our system. Okay. So different cookies, just check in your website, in your browser window. So go to settings in Chrome and in the user itself, in privacy and security, you can find that. Okay. Let me search my cookie name, cookie one. We should get that here. So we'll see that tomorrow. So yeah, one thing left, like, so this is the way we pass cookie information. So if we want to set expiration time, we can also set that. So in the source page, for the cookie object, we will have different options. Let's see them one by one, like cookie dot. So these are the different options that are available with cookie. Domain, from which domain like which domain created it, we can set that. Our domain information we can set. Expiry time we can set. Expires equal to date time dot add hours, datetime.now.add days or add hours, right? You can add 1 hour like that. Then that cookie will be available till 1 hour. Okay. So we have few other options like cookie dot. So whenever we set an expiry time to a particular cookie, then that will become a persistent cookie. So whether it is HTTP only or HTTPS, we can set that here, HTTP only or not. Domain we can set, path we can set, expires, name, cookie name, path, same site, secure or not. So when we set true, it has to be used over SSL. Okay, gets or sets value indicating whether to transmit the cookie using secure socket layers, that is over HTTPS only. So whether it is shareable or not, values. If you have a collection, then we can use values. If you have a single value, we can use dot value. This is about cookie and properties. Expires is used to set the expiry date and time. Okay, name is used to set the name of the cookie. Path is used to set the complete web page address in which we created that cookie. Domain is used to set or get the domain name that cookie is associated with. Secure, it's a Boolean property. When set to true, that has to be transferred through SSL only. So this is about cookies, persistent cookies and the non-persistent cookies. So reading their values, right? So in the same manner, here we set only static data, hard-coded data. In the same manner, we can pass the value entered here, right? Whatever the value we enter, that we can pass. That we can pass here in any of the cookie, like A, and we can attach that here, right? So let me show that as well. Txt student ID dot text. So this way we can pass that value in A. So I'll comment it. So in destination page, I'll access only A. I'm sorry, that we have in different page, right? Okay. So whatever the past ID, I'll show here. Enter to stream. I'm not binding here, binding any grid. I'm simply I'm just simply rerunning the application. I'm just passing some cookie value that I entered in the text box. I'm not binding any grid. So I'll enter some 100 or 788, clicking redirect button, welcome, and I am able to get that value. Okay. So this is about cookies. So what are the advantages? Like we have a configurable expiration rules, right? So we can configure when cookie can live in the system or not. No server resources required because these will be stored in the client machine, and they are simple to set, and they store the data for some time, like persistency. Suppose user is opting English language, we will see some websites, right? Like which language you want to display the information in. So like that, suppose he selected English. So we can set a cookie and we can store that in the website. When he logs in next time, we can read that value. We can directly display the information in that format, in that language, like that. So you have you put some website like Flipkart, and you selected some values here. So selected some products. You can store them in cookie whenever you relog in to the Flipkart. So you can get that value and you can directly display to the user. These are previously selected by you. Okay. Suppose you are searching for some laptop in your system, in your browser. So if you observe after 10 minutes or 15 minutes, either in FB or if you are surfing something else, you will see Google ads related to laptops. So how they will know that you are searched for a laptop, or searched for ice cream, or searched for some electronic item like that. So they will read your information. So if you are searching for something, they will store a cookie and they will read it. Then they will show you the suggestions. You just search for just a OT location. Then you will get all the travel packages related to that in the form of ads. Okay, that all possible with these kind of state management techniques. Like Google will, when you search for something, it will store the information that you search and displays the ads based on your search preferences. Okay, so they may store it in the cookie, or they may collect the information and store in their server like that. Okay, to pass that information from here to there, they'll use these state management techniques. Okay, so today we covered only client side. Tomorrow we will see application and session management. One of the important topic, like, so we can create a login page and we can go to some dashboard page like that. We'll see that tomorrow. Any doubts? I'm just stopping the record.